Welcome back to our listeners. We are excited to be here and share some fun things and share some news. First and foremost, we want to tell you, our listeners, that we are taking an intentional pause. We're going to be taking a step back for ourselves to really pause. And when you think about this, when we think about this pause, it's in service of our ongoing healing, taking care of ourselves. And I feel like the message is really important to share because we don't often enough give ourselves the permission to make some hard decisions or to say no, or to say, in this case, pause to something in service of some other things that might be a little bit either more important right now or that need tending to. So it's a bittersweet thing.
Absolutely, it is.
So we wanted to just share with our listeners that is what we are doing right now. But we thought it would be fun to, at this point, while we're on pause, we can tee up some of our favorite episodes so you can go back and listen to those. And any others, of course, but I'm going to tee it over to Dina. Do you have some favorite episodes you want to share with us?
Yes. I love them all, but there are a few of them that stand out for me. And like you said, Maggie, it's just so important to take that intentional pause, whatever that looks like for our listeners. As an individual, we are all so unique. And it's one of those things that we have to be okay physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually with the decisions that we make. So without further ado, one of my favorite episodes was episode 23. Celebrating our wins.
Oh, good one.
The reason I take this very personally because I'm not one to celebrate my wins, no matter how small or big they are. And whether it's personal, business, relationship, no matter what it is, I don't say anything about it. And people are like, hello, look what you just accomplished. When we're going through this journey of healing, whether it's from breast cancer or something else, no matter what that is, we really have to celebrate ourselves. We come first. And it can be as simple as, I got up this morning. I was a guest on an interview, or I got the kids off to school this morning. I got housework done. I mean, I can go on and on about, even our jobs, whether you're in business for yourself or you work for somebody and there's those to-do lists and you get them done. Celebrate them. And the most important thing that I have learned, because we have spoke about this, is when you're going through this, and all these things that are possible in our lives, let's just take a step back. For instance, if you want to do A, B, and C, all right, and you got A and B done, but you didn't get C done, what normally happens? We usually are very hard on ourselves.
Focus on C.
We focus on that one thing that we didn't do, instead of celebrating that I did get A and B done. And once again, I will always say in our podcast, whatever that looks like for you, because we are all so different. That's one of mine that I love.
Before you move on, Dina, I'm going to say, Marla is a fabulous accountability partner when it comes to wins, because if she hears anything that sounds like it could be, write that down on your wins. Write that down on your wins. She's really good at it.
And that is, I love this because we do need to find that one person or two people in our lives that can do that for us. Mm-hmm. And I love that about Marla. Yep, there it is. There's that win. Or stop it with the negativity. No negativity. There's the
Yeah.
positive.
Well, and it's something you have to practice, and it's something that I had to
Yes.
learn too. And a big piece of that is because, and Maggie and I are really, we have big, lofty goals. A lot of us do. And Dina, I know you do too. And if you're anything like us, we would write down like, I don't know, something really like redo the website.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's like, I didn't get that done today or in the last hour or what, and it's like, so learning to break those things down into small pieces. And then each step that, like you said, Dina, each one of those A, B, C, those steps, that's a win because it serves the bigger picture. And, so I think it's just important to learn that and practice that. It's a big shift in your mind. For
Yes.
sure.
That's a
Yes.
great point. Yes.
Another episode that is really near and dear to my heart was episode 39, Appreciating the Women in Our Lives. And I know when we were talking about this in the early part, no, actually, episode 39, we're up to 54 today. So I'm thinking like in the early beginning of this, but I truly look back, especially through my cancer journey, that I didn't have three women in my life while I was going through it. My grandmother, who I called Nanny, my mother, and my mother-in-law. They all have passed on before I got my diagnosis. And what I had to do, or what I learned to do throughout that whole ordeal, was think about them. Think about some of the comments they used to say, some of the advice they used to say, and actually write them down, or I thought about them to get me through my treatments, my surgeries, and even today where I stand now and the things that I have accomplished. I know, and this might sound funny to some of our viewers, but I talk to them. I'll walk around the house talking to them. Nan, what do you think about that? Ma, what do you think about that? My mother-in-law, my kids called her Nanny, so I would call her Nan. So I had my nanny, I had my mom, and then I had Nan. So I'd walk around the house talking out loud and all that kind of stuff. But
I love that.
it really brought me joy, and it lifted some of the burden on my shoulders because they all had a specific phrase here and there. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it right this minute, but they all did. So it's important to celebrate the women that might not be in your life anymore, but it's just as important to celebrate the women that are in your life as you are going through any type of life-altering situation in your healing.
I love that. So you're celebrating wins and you're celebrating women.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Those are two great ones. How about you, Marla?
Well, again, there's so many good episodes, but definitely ones that speak to me right now and where I'm at personally. Episode 20, Slowing Down from the Hustle. I think this past year I've had to really focus on and learn about, like, do research and even understand what a boundary is and how to set one and how to hold it. It's new for me. I think so much of my life has been about doing so much for others. And so taking that important shift and looking at how to protect ourselves from that and allowing space and energy to also take care of ourselves. It's just, there was a lot of great perspectives that we shared in that episode, and that's really important to all of us to keep talking about and sharing with one another, because I think we're all feeling some of this hustle pressure.
I think, Mo, that's a great point. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but when you are aware of it and you start to slow down, and then all of a sudden something happens and the switch turns back to that hustle and bustle thing again. And then you have to kind of slow it down. So like you said, this is a learning process. You're going to have some good days and bad days, some positives and some negatives. But it's just always important to go back to that and say, no, hold on, I got this. Let me reframe and reset these boundaries.
Yes, absolutely.
So true. It's a practice, like you said, Marla, and then also experimenting when you do find yourself falling back. How do you become aware more quickly and shift more quickly?
Yes.
Yes. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yes. And my second one I would say was episode 28. We talked about the healing power of journaling. And this is a practice for me that has really strengthened my awareness of myself, helped me grow. I do a lot of processing of emotions on paper, things that I just need to get out of my head, or something that's really negatively emotionally got me in a tizzy. So I will take that and it helps me just feel the emotions. Otherwise, historically in the past, I would stuff them down, not deal with them, and they would come out sideways later, and it just wasn't healthy or a good way to do it. So journaling has been a pivotal shift for me in terms of healing myself and working through ways that I can improve. It's a good way to brainstorm and think about how can I be a better parent? How can I learn and grow myself into situations that maybe in the past I regretted the way I reacted, but now I want to do it differently going forward. So I just use it as sort of that empowering tool to be the person I want to be going forward.
I love that. And I do love how you inspire me with how much you journal, because I want to journal more. But I also love that the three of us, outside of the context of the podcast, we continue to talk about different journal practices and different things so we can just continue to learn from each other. And
I know in that episode, we give a lot of tips, because there's a lot of people out there who will say, well, I can't journal because of this, or I can't, I know I shared in that episode specifically, like I write in a ugly 3-ring binder that's a cheap 20 center from Target. Like I do not write in my fancy journals until I have something inspiring and beautiful to write. But most of my daily journals are like, get this out of me as chicken scratch, and not even, it's just words. And, so there's so many different ways to journal. And I think we give a lot of great tips from all of our perspectives on how to do that and what that looks like. So people, let go of your preconceived notions on it, because we might shake it up a little.
Well, thanks for the reminder, because many of you will laugh, but when I am sitting down with my pretty journal, if I don't have a couple different colors of markers with my black pen, I will stop. I'm not going to do it. Which is ridiculous, right? It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be, it's just about getting it down. So thanks for that reminder.
So Maggie, what about you? Tell us what inspired you.
My first one, episode 30, I want to say, that healing power of play. And that one, I remember having so much fun with it. And I've always looked at myself as a very playful person, but I also miss that aspect of myself a lot when I get into my hustle mode, right? So I've not been playing enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to find more ways to play and figure out, what does that mean to me? What does that look like? So that's a big important one for me. And it's a hard one. Throughout my days when I do get, I'm going to use the B word, when I get busy. So, which leads to my next couple I'm going to throw out there that are linked. Episode 20, which Marla also mentioned, slowing down from the hustle.
Yes.
It's a huge part of my ongoing healing that I continue to work on, because I too naturally am in go, do mode. And I want to be more in be mode.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's just a constant awareness thing for me that I'm always working on. And so when I think about, that was episode 20, episode 43 ties to it's new year, no resolutions. And that
Yes.
ties to what I'm trying so hard to be more intentional. My word for the year is intention. And I truly believe that last year, especially the latter half of the year, I lost sight of my own healing. And yes, I was working on fun stuff that I loved with LoveME Healing and with this podcast, but I lost sight of focusing on myself, making myself a priority, showing up for myself. And looking back, it hurts because why did I treat myself that way? Why did I let that happen? But it happens to all of us, right?
Yes, it sure does. It really does.
Yeah, and I love that episode where we talked about no resolutions, because what's meaningful to me with the whole focus on intention is to shift away from that more achievement focus or mindset to a bigger focus on what do I want to experience more or less of? What do I want to be more or less of? Who do I want to be more or less of? And what do I want to feel more? So I just am, those were fun conversations, and they're very meaningful and meaty to me right now because of what I got going on.
It really is. It's really something to take a look. It's really actually stop, take a breath, look, and decide what's so meaningful to each and every one of us. And like we said, that looks so different. You know, what I might like, somebody else might not like. What they like, nope, that's not me. I wouldn't do that. You know, and it's so important to look at your healing, your journey. It's something that we should take quite seriously, because all the things we talked about, if we don't do them, unfortunately, it can affect every avenue of our life. And then we feel out of control.
Yep.
We might be very fearful, the anxiety levels, sometimes the depression. It could be a number of different things that can start surfacing. And we need, and I'll say this, and I'll always say it, we need to take care of ourselves first. This is what we've been talking about this whole year.
Yep. Right? Yes. When we're not doing that, I love how you stated that, Dina. And when we're not doing that, there's this underlying anxiety and unsettledness that just lives there, right? That's my experience anyway. So yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that can come out sideways.
Yes. And we would love for our listeners to go back and listen to some of these episodes, or listen to all of the episodes. You know, when we started out, our initial episodes were focused on healing from breast cancer. And as we progressed over time, over the year, our conversations naturally shifted to many different topics. Everything healing, because we're all healing from something. We've said it because that's what we truly believe. We are all healing from something. All of these episodes involved our own unique perspectives and the ways that we practice or experience them. Because truly, or I should say, healing truly continues to be inside and out. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found value in today's episode.
And remember to share your real and raw insights with us by going to healinsideandout.com, where you can also find additional information and resources.